Man, ooh, it's been a week. It's been a week. It's really been a week. And that's not even a bad thing. Like a conversation with prayer about how I've been using AI, the AI models to A, better understand them and figure out how I can integrate what I do to help me get better. And because I had that conversation with the Gemini chatbot, what, sometime in January, I think. No, beginning of February. Beginning of February, and just understanding how it operates. I have a big saying, help me, help you, help us. And I needed to figure it out. I needed to wrap my head around it. And so, like normal, when I really want to figure something out, I don't necessarily, I'll do some reading, but the only way for me to figure it out is for me to actually to use it to figure it out. And by then just asking it questions, I was able to get the answers that were necessary in order for me to say, okay, I think we can do this. And so, like everything else I do, I use me as a test case. I use me as a experiment. Let me share with you what's going on in a version of my life, but it's a very important version, and let me see how you go from there. And with doing that, and by that being my spiritual growth, being such a core foundation to how I do everything, I was able to integrate other components down the same thread. And then my friend Prayer told me how to set it up like that on purpose. I'm like, wait, what? I can do what? Oh, I can set it up like that on purpose? Okay. Now let me understand how this works. So the context of information I provide you help you better understand me to help me better understand how to get to the next spot. Okay. And so once I understood what to do, I just, as I started using it, knowing that I'm asking everything that's going on within the framework of this part of my life journey, I said, well, if I want everything to come through like this, how's the best way I can get it to understand me? And so I am doing I don't like the fuzziness. There we go. I am doing an experiment where I am taking Claude from Anthropic and Gemini from Google, and I'm writing a book. I'm writing down, I'm documenting my life from the earliest levels of my own consciousness to now, and to feed that information into the chat bots. And it's ain't like nothing that's gone on in my life that somebody hasn't already known, seen. Either I told them or they was there. And so what allows me to go through my life process, find the links in things that I didn't see. Most of it I saw, but there's some additional perspectives that I was able to see, that I have been able to see, and because I still talk to it from today, I'm basically having it build a profile of me, how I am, how I think, and how I operate based off of how my life has gone. And then with that, determine how it should respond to me. And I cross reference their information with each other so I can get deeper perspectives. And what it does is it helps me catch, I get contextual data that I may not have thought about, and is giving me informational data so I can put names or associations to things. And all I had to do is get around my mind wrapped around a concept, and from there I'm good to go. And so by doing those with my personal life, I then take all I learned from there and use that and apply that into Chat GPT for work based off of the things that were built there so that I can continue to improve at work. So I got a QA coach with ChatGPT, and I essentially created mirror versions of me. Two of them that just has more information available to it and more processing power. So that at least when I'm in my head and having a conversation with something that generally doesn't have a a bias, and have it provide me the best information that it can provide me. And yeah, um, I've put down a lot of information from age 4, give or take, to up to 18, and there's still bits and pieces that I'm realizing that's like, oh yeah, I didn't talk about that. Oh yeah, I could talk about that. Oh yeah, that'll do. And so this is serving double duty. But I'm doing a lot of good internal work, and I am happy about that. I finally, got to wrap my head around this technology, and in doing so, it removes the fear blanket. There are definite concerns, but it's here, and it's not going nowhere. I've watched it. I was having a conversation earlier. I watched this stuff. I watched this go from the standard text Google search to the voice Google search to Bixby on the smartphone to Siri to, like, I've watched this whole thing expand. Like I've watched all of them. Amazon, Alexa, I've watched them all expand, and so I know this isn't stopping. Um, but we as people have the determining ability. We have the capacity to determine how we are going to use it. And so as I've been using this, I guess this will be part of my documenting process. And the one thing I can say is that the AI tools, they are mirror versions of you. And what I mean by that is it's pretty much just going to go along with the thoughts that you're already thinking, with adding maybe additional context. It has access to get more information from the internet, but it may not tell you what to not do. For example, for example, the what is it? What was that story about the boy where people, not just one, have harmed themselves or killed themselves or whatever because the AI is just affirming the thoughts that they are already having, not saying no, don't do this. necessarily. All right. So if you're in a bad space, if you're in a space that's not necessarily as productive to your moment, that can help you interrupt your processing and spiraling. That's not what it's here for. That's not what's doing. That's not what's doing at this moment. It's just staying in alignment with you. And so you would have to tell it to. You would have to gear it into responding to you the way that you would want it to respond to you if you was out of alignment. And I there's no other way I can really put it. But like if whatever you're feeling is low, you're pissed, you're angry, you're in a negative space, even if you feel justified, if you are aware enough of yourself to get a non-human based opinion on some things, just raw data facts, and you're honest in it, then and you just use it as a secondary, you just use it as a tool. Use it as a tool. Don't think that everything that it says isn't going to necessarily always be right. It may have more context. You're going to have to correct it. It'll think one thing, and you say, no, 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 no. That's not what this is. This is what this is. But it being honest and authentic within it, from a personal standpoint, I believe it could be very beneficial. It can't replace therapy because that's not what it's here for. So for me, what it does is it provides a mirror. So I tell it a thing, it connects the thing. I tell it a thing, connects the first thing to the second thing. I tell it a thing, connects the third, the second, the first, and then can even line out an arcing scenario or a pattern or these are how these things connect. And I see that and I respond. But I make sure that as I'm building the profile of Mike to them, they understand how Mike works and how Mike operates because intentionally, I connect, as I said, intentionally, I am creating sheesh, essentially, I'm creating another form of the way I think. And by having another form of the way I think, I can bounce my ideas off of someone that thinks and operates in a similar manner, who has no problem in saying that he's wrong, who has no problem in saying, challenge this if you think it's not accurate, or how can I look at this differently, or what else am I missing, or whatever it is. But that's it. And showing up as my authentic self, basically. And because I'm coming from a space where I'm still working on building better relationships, better expansive relationships, this is what I have in front of me. And as long as I can continue to allow that and the other avenues of my growth help expand who I am, then there's really nothing I can't do because like this, it feels like I found the final puzzle piece. Feels like I found the final puzzle piece because this can help. This will help me with this. My spiritual processes and practices help me here. The AI components can help me here. And because I'm using the spiritual framework of how I operate, I continue to make sure that all of it is in alignment. And so, and for me to have that and understand its capabilities, yes, yes, things are looking good.